Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of In the Know. I am your host, musical mastermind extraordinaire, if you will, Sydney Haughton. I hope you guys had a good new year and are ready for more unsolicited, unwanted, and unrequested opinions about music. This past Sunday, February 1st, was music's biggest night and one of my favorite nights of the year, the 68th annual Grammys. That night, I watched the Grammys from my little iPhone screen at work. Don't tell my boss. And I was patiently waiting for my favorite categories to announce their winners. I was specifically waiting for Hayley Williams to win in her categories with her newest album, Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party. She was someone who I was most excited to see. Unfortunately, she did not win in any of her categories, and this really frustrated me. But then I realized people do not really understand or feel the powerhouse that Hayley Williams is, and I decided to make this episode to share that she is one of the most talented vocalists, lyricists, and musicians of her generation. So, let's get into it. Hayley Nicole Williams was born a Capricorn on December 27, 1988 in the deep south of Mississippi to Joey Williams and Christy Williams. Though she grew up in Mississippi, her parents divorced when she was 13 years old and she moved to Franklin, Tennessee with her mother. I mentioned Franklin specifically because Paramore has a song called Franklin on their first album, All We Know Is Falling, as an homage to that town that changed their life. Now, Miss Hayley Williams was not playing with these people once she got to Tennessee. By the time she was 14, she was being scouted by managers Dave Stunebrink. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. And Richard Williams, who signed her to a 2-year production deal and then eventually signed her to Atlantic Records. Now, the label's original plan was to have Hayley as a solo artist in pop, but she had other plans. Hayley wanted to have a pop-punk sound and wanted to play with her best friends from Tennessee. And with her friends from Tennessee, a little band by the name of Paramore, I don't know, maybe you've heard of them before, was born. So even though Hayley is a massive part of Paramore, this episode is not about Paramore, as much as I'd love to talk about Paramore. It is about Hayley Williams and Hayley Williams only. I'm only going to talk briefly about the band, just so y'all have an understanding of the level they were and are at to this day, even during their hiatus. Paramore started officially in 2004 with original members Hayley Williams as lead vocalist and lyricist, Zach Farrow on drums, his brother Josh Farrow on guitar and background vocals, and Jeremy Davis playing bass. In 2009, guitarist Taylor York joined the band after years of working with Paramore. Fun fact, Paramore was called Paramore because they named it after their first bass player's mother's maiden name, but changed the spelling to not mean secret lover because that's what Paramore, O-U-R, means. And instead they changed it to O-R-E to not have that meaning towards the band, which would be somewhat ironic in the future, but we'll get to that later. Anyways, as a band, they decided to sign to Fueled by Ramen, and at the time, indie label, you guys probably know Fueled by Ramen, if you listen to like any alternative music. They had Paramore, they had early Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, 21 Pilots, Melanie Martinez. Like, if you wanted to be an alternative artist, you had some sort of correlation to Fueled by Ramen. Some sort of correlation to Fueled by Ramen, whether you liked it or not. All We Know Is Falling was released in 2005 after departure of bassist Jeremy Davis with singles Pressure, My Heart, and Emergency. They had their first breakout song on the soundtrack of Twilight with Decode. That song actually like changed my brain chemistry. Like, I'm sorry, like even the like movie doesn't give it enough credit. That song is like emo royalty. Like, I can't. Genuinely one of their best songs that they've ever done, but maybe that's just how I feel. From there, the band skyrocketed into the ether that is the music industry, winning 3 Grammys I think the first one was for Ain't It Fun for Best Rock Song. That song is really good. Everybody knows that song. Ain't it fun? Ain't it fun? Baby, now you're one of us. Like, Hayley, come on. Come on. Within the hiatuses of Paramore, Hayley Williams did not remain idle and released multiple projects of her own, including albums Petals for Armor, Flowers for Vases, and Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party. Williams collaborated with fellow Paramore alum Taylor York on Petals for Armor Part 1, also the same person who might have inspired Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party. Good old days. Nod. Sorry. You should listen to that song. The song's really good. I say that about everything, but like I don't mean it. I mean it very heavily when I'm talking about like artists that give me this visceral reaction like Hayley Williams. But yeah, she collaborated with Taylor York on Petals for Armor Part 1, and then Petals for Armor Part 2 was fully written and produced by Hayley. This was during 2020, I believe, when we were all cooped up in our houses, and she was like, I have nothing to do, so I'm actually going to work in the studio of my house. I think she worked on it in her house, but yeah, all by herself. So, hey. Both projects did fairly well. However, fans weren't expecting such a stark difference in her writing compared to what she was writing in Paramore. There was a definite change in like the maturity of what she wrote, which I think is really cool to see, because I love seeing artists that I've grown up with transition into different writing styles to match. Well, let me not say to match, but to show their path as an artist. I think that's really cool to see, and you're growing up with them, you know. My personal favorite right now is Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party, which came out last year, 2025. That album specifically is like what I needed, and I feel like I say this all the time, but like, sorry, I just bumped my glasses. I feel like I say this all the time, but like I genuinely, I don't know, I love it when artists just find me. Not that I didn't know about Paramore before or Hayley Williams before, but like it was a reintroduction to Hayley Williams for me. It's not only what I needed or what I feel I needed in this time of my life, but I feel like it's also such an impactful album politically and socially of what the world needs to hear and what is going on. My top tracks are definitely Hard and True Believer. However, Parachute is definitely on my earbuds pretty consistently. So yeah, not that that's like an embarrassing thing. I'm not embarrassed about that, but like, just listen to the song. Just listen to the song. I could talk hours and hours and hours about Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party just because it was one of the best albums to come out in 2025. She wrote and produced the entire album with collaborator Daniel James. I'm so sorry. And the way she did the album rollout was really unique too, because I think she was reaching out to home-based like radio stations at first, and she, I think, had fans help her with picking the track list. And I don't know, I just love, she's so down to earth and she's really about that life, about like community and like building from the ground up, truthfully. Even though she is this mega rock star, you know, I really do appreciate that. The way Hayley goes about talking about the world problems and her own personal turmoil is so raw and authentic, and that's one of my favorite things about her. She has remained this authentic and unapologetically like just herself her entire career, and I think a lot of artists tend to miss the check, or I'll just say like the trait, I'll say, tend to miss out on that trait these days. And yeah, I just love Hayley. She's great. She's so like, and I hate to like sound a little parasocial, she's great though. I love her. Hayley Williams has hard launched her new band called Power Snatch with collaborator I talked about before, Daniel James. These past few weeks, Power Snatch has released an EP with 4 songs: DMs, Duh, Hole in the Ceiling, and Assignment. The sound is still that rock sound that Hayley has always had, but it's like a grungy rock sound, and I'm so into it. There have been like a lot of similarities with her and Kurt Cobain throughout the years, but I think specifically 2025, 2026, going into 2026, there are massive influences I'm seeing, and I think that's really unique. I think Hayley is extremely calculated, and she knows what she's doing. I think she knows what she's doing. My personal favorites off the EP, of course I listened to it already, are Assignment and DMs. Assignment specifically is very, very grungy to me. It's still early, but I am super, super excited to see what they release next. I got my eye on you, Miss Williams, whichever camera I need to look into. I hope that didn't sound creepy. I feel like I feel like I'm like edging the line of parasocialism. I'm trying not to. Hayley Williams, please don't send me a cease and desist. I'm trying to see you in concert soon, please. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of In the Know. I am going to leave you with these last few thoughts. A, Hayley Williams is one of the most talented front women or man there has ever been, and everything she touches is gold. So I'm excited, and I hope you guys are excited too. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.